Our top focus, you've seen them ride at unbelievable speeds. You have seen them perform deadly stunts. You've also seen them take their two-wheelers on pedestrian walkways, creating absolute havoc. You have seen them break traffic rules. You have seen them often enough without helmets. Biker nuisance is not new to India. In fact, statistics tell us that two-wheelers account for 45% of all fatal road accidents in India. 45%, which means almost 1 out of every 2 accidental deaths happening on India's roads involve a two-wheeler driver. The major reason? Overspeeding, driving without a helmet, performing stunts on bikes, and reckless, careless, unlawful driving. Mumbai, in fact, saw yet another display of unlawful driving recently, where a 24-year-old called Kiran Patel was arrested and charged with attempt to culpable homicide for taking his bike on the Bandra-Worli ceiling. Can you imagine that? This is a place where two-wheelers are strictly prohibited. And that was not it. He then took a U-turn on the highway, on the ceiling, where cars move at a speed of not less than 80 kilometers per hour, endangering not only his life, but the life of countless other people there. Why did he do it? Simple. Because he thought he could get away with it, like most two-wheeler riders do in this country. Today, in fact, a two-wheeler has hit and killed a florist again in Mumbai. There are 21 crore two-wheelers in this country as opposed to 7 crore four-wheelers. Yet, it seems the law only applies to the latter, which means the four-wheeler drivers, which means people who drive cars, the laws are only for them. They are not for the two-wheelers. At the crux of all of this is a very simple question. Are chalans and fines only for car drivers? It's not that there are no rules for two-wheeler drivers. There are enough and more. But two-wheeler drivers have the utmost disregard for these rules. And that is what we are discussing tonight. You drive a car, you are expected to follow the law. And you should follow the law. You should follow the rules. But do these laws and rules apply to people who drive scooters and bikes as well? Also, another question to think about, should the penalty for offences be different for two-wheelers and four-wheelers? Is it fair? Let's take Maharashtra's example only. There is at least a 50% difference in what four-wheelers and two-wheelers pay for the same offence. The chart is on your screens. In fact, this is crazy. While four-wheelers are fined a whopping 25,000 rupees, 25,000 rupees for underage driving, why is it that two-wheelers have to pay a mere 1,000 rupees for the same difference? 25,000 and 1,000. But before we jump into a discussion, let's quickly listen into this conversation that my colleague Ishika has had with the Delhi Traffic Commissioner on this biker menace in the national capital. Listen in.
My first question to you is, if we talk in terms of data, sir, what are the 3 most laws that you have seen most violations in?
If we are strictly speaking about bikers, then the most important point is they're flouting the noise pollution norms. They are using modified silencers, especially in bullet motorcycles and high-end luxury motorcycles. That is the case with four-wheelers, luxury sports cars. They are using modified silencers. They are spending a lot of money to modify their silencers just to make a statement about their arrival. So this causes a lot of inconvenience amongst the residents also and other travelers and commuters who are using the roads. Apart from this, they are also indulging in overspeeding and rash driving. And many a times we catch two-wheelers drivers without helmets. So these are the 3 violations which we specifically focus on when we talk about two-wheelers. We have done 3,769 challans in 2022 and in 2023
This is
overall for the entire year, and 1,789 challans in 2023 in the first 4 months against use of modified silencers only. We make sure that the violator pays a hefty fine as challaned, and at the same time he discontinues the use of modified silencer. In this way, we basically hit the root of the problem, and so that there is no problem of noise pollution which recurs by the same violator. Apart from that, if we talk about data regarding not use of helmets by two-wheelers and rash driving, then we have seen a declining trend. The number of vehicles is also increasing day by day, with more vehicles being purchased and coming onto roads. And the drive that we have focused on, this intensive drive, it also has some results. So all in all, the end product is that we have a declining trend in prosecution figures, but at the same time, we do not see violations on the road also. This can be deciphered from the fact that the number of accidents and fatal accidents specifically has declined in entire Delhi.
From Delhi, let me go across to Bangalore, a city with the worst traffic in this country. In fact, it ranks number 2 when it comes to terrible traffic. London is number 1. Deepak Bopanna, live with us from Bangalore. Many people in Bangalore, of course, say the survey that was done was completely incorrect and Bangalore should have been at number 1. But the problem is that it's not just that Bangalore has a traffic problem. Bangalore, like the rest of India, has another problem, which is two-wheelers. Fact is that across this country, not just in Bangalore, not just in Karnataka, it seems, if you go by the number of chalans that are put out, that it's only four-wheelers who are committing crimes on roads, and two-wheelers, are the safest drivers on the planet. If you look at the statistics, Deepak, it tells us a different story. It tells us that almost half the deaths on India's roads involve a two-wheeler.
Well, Shreya, as a Bangalorean, when you say Bangalore has the worst traffic, it makes me feel bad. But probably you're right. The situation here is pretty bad. It needs to be addressed. And of course, bikers are one of the bigger reasons which add to the problems in the city. And of course, they are a part of large-scale violations. I've been standing here and, while of course we've been here, we've seen now you just saw a biker cutting lanes as if, he doesn't need to follow one. And you see multiple instances like this where, they're cutting lanes, they do not follow lane discipline. There you have an individual without a helmet. Here you have people not wearing the proper helmet, which of course is authorized. ISI certified helmets is what the police and the government prescribes, but many of them don't follow it. It's raining here in Bengaluru. The roads are slippery, but the bikers in particular are quite reckless. And time and again there have been, of course, multiple laws that have been brought forth. But for the bikers in Bengaluru, it seems like they don't learn a lesson. We've seen them involved in multiple accidents in the past as well. And more than anything else, here you see a couple of young people on the bike, both of them not wearing a helmet, and they'll probably cut lanes. And you can see another delivery boy as well not wearing a helmet. So enforcing, of course, all of this becomes a big challenge. Here you have a case of triple riding as well, as we see. And in Bengaluru, in several places we see, while of course bikes are meant for 2 people, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 people on a bike. It's definitely a cause of concern that needs to be addressed. Of course, enforcement becomes a big challenge. Right now, the traffic police are heavily relying on cameras that, of course, detect and find these individuals, but many of them, of course, get away. I've even seen instances where a bike, has been old and probably the resale value of the bike is about, 10 to 15,000, whereas the chalans on that bike, run up to 20, 25,000, and some of them I've seen instances where they give up the bike to the police and go back home because they're not able to pay the fine, or they don't think it's worth it because the bike even doesn't cost as much as the number of violations that they've committed. So definitely these are issues that need to be addressed. The police here, of course, say that it's a routine process and they're doing as much as they can, but considering the amount of population there is, to man each and every biker becomes extremely difficult. Probably for people to realize what they need to do, self-realization is the best way forward.
Oh, well, that's not happening anytime soon. We'll leave it there for the moment. Deepak, thank you very much. I know it's been raining in Bangalore, so a double thank you for staying back till 8 p.m. and getting us this report. Thank you very much. There's a gentleman there, and that visual is coming to us from Bandra. You just saw it. And we've seen, God knows, we've seen these visuals often enough on India's roads. Hormuzad Sorabji is editor Autocar India, joining us on the broadcast. Vijay Chibbar is a former secretary, Road Transport and Highways. And we have Anurag Kulshrestha, who is a founder president of TRAX Society. It's a road safety NGO, as it were. Mr. Sorabji, I'm coming to you first. Forget what you have seen, forget what I have seen. Just see what our viewers have just seen. Deepak standing there on the roads for less than 3 minutes, getting us that live report. And he counted in those 3 minutes on that one particular stretch, at least four people on two-wheelers without helmets and cutting lanes. Point is, why do they never get challaned? Point is, why do they never get stopped? It seems the law exists only for car drivers. For example, if I was on the road this evening, driving a car without a seat belt, I know that I would have been not just hauled up, I would have been made to pay my fine right there and then.
Think, I completely agree with you, and I'm really happy you brought up this point because clearly, it's just that's the way it is. Person in the bigger, more expensive vehicle is generally more at fault than someone who is on a two-wheeler. And whenever you see an accident, even if it's a two-wheeler guy's fault, a poor innocent car driver can be booked and blamed. So that's just how it is, and it's really unfortunate. But I think the two-wheeler kind of the way they are just with impunity breaking rules and driving absolutely rashly and dangerously has become a menace, and it's reached really serious proportions. I think a serious crackdown has to be done. And really, helmets are compulsory, but that basic law is just not being enforced. I mean, I ride a two-wheeler very often, and at signals, I see people around me without helmets. Traffic police really just turn a blind eye. And right now, we've seen that they're driving in an even more dangerous way. Of course, you've seen these stunts which are happening, but on a day-to-day basis, they're just breaking lights, coming in the opposite direction, and putting everyone else into danger as well. I mean, today, even if you have a green light, you have to be careful crossing it, even though it's your right of way, because there might be a two-wheeler breaking a red light in the other way and coming into you. And as I said, it could well be your fault. So really, I think this has really become a menace. And as you said, I think a more serious crackdown on two-wheelers needs to happen because they're much larger population. The maximum road deaths are two-wheelers, largely because they don't wear helmets. And I think, as I said, it's reached really serious, I would say, even epidemic proportions.
Vijay Chibbar, why is there hesitation? Why is there hesitation to act against two-wheelers? Why is it always assumed that the person who's driving the car pays more tax, is the richer of the fellow, and therefore will always be the one at fault? But if it's a two-wheeler, jaane do usko. Why is there hesitation even on the part of the traffic police to act against two-wheelers? Is it because the volume is simply so much that the traffic police has decided that if we start, hailing down every two-wheeler who's breaking the rule, that's the only thing we'll be doing for the rest of our lives?
Shreya, you've addressed this to whom?
Vijayji, I have addressed this to you.
Oh, me. Okay. So, well, that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, it's the population of the two-wheelers that is there. Firstly, let me thank you, Shreya, that you brought in a focus onto a very important, and through you times now, that you brought in a focus onto a very important issue. And my friend Hormuz, we go back a long way. We've been struggling to communicate issues relating to road safety, not because it's a problem for somebody else, but it's a problem for ourselves. And unless we internalize this problem and say that we got to solve it, there's nobody else going to come from somewhere to tell us how to do it. Before we get into a further debate, I must clarify that the Statistics Club two-wheelers, the automated two-wheelers and the cyclists together. So two-wheelers is one omnibus basket. And unfortunately, the cyclists who may be aberrant, just like the motorized two-wheelers that you're seeing on the screen right now, are not so aberrant vis-a-vis what you're seeing in terms of the motorized, the motorcyclists and the scooterists. They have a bigger problem.
Sure.
Or their problem is slightly different. It's more in terms of visibility, the bicycles and their own attire not being visible enough in the twilight hour, in the gray zone. They do get impacted. But I think there's no two ways about the fact that there are youth on, particularly youth on two-wheelers, motorized two-wheelers, bikes and scooters, who are completely aberrant in terms of their behavior, in terms of the rules that they are expected to adopt, whether it's helmets or it's
You know,
basic road safety
Vijayji,
issues. In
question
fact,
is,
if you drive
question
on any
is,
of the roads, whether it's
question is,
Mumbai or
the
Delhi or any
question
of,
is,
yeah, sure, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. If you drive on any of the roads, go ahead, complete your point. No, Vijayji, complete your point. I'll come in after that.
No, I was saying, if you are a driver on the roads, you actually get scared how the two-wheeler driver is driving. You actually pull back and say, "What the hell is this guy doing?" You know. And I have a problem in my house because my wife says you're always sort of pointing out the aberrant behavior of these two-wheelers. Whenever we go out, so she's sort of in a way suggesting that she doesn't want to go out with me anymore because I'm so fixated about the kind of misdemeanors that are happening on the road in terms of road safety. And I'm so happy that you brought this issue forefront in a very upfront manner.
Okay. 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 You're right you're right in saying that many of us, who drive in cities, look at the way two-wheelers behave. And you've spoken about cyclists. Frankly, I don't see cyclists in Delhi. I don't know whether you see cyclists in Bombay or Bangalore, but I don't see cyclists in Delhi. It's almost like we have edged away bicycles from this country, at least from urban areas in this country. We don't see them. If you're trying to ride a bicycle in this country, God save. And you're right when you say that when people like us are driving on the roads, you see the behavior of two-wheelers and people who drive two-wheelers, scooters and motorcycles, mostly motorcycles, and you think to yourself, what the hell is going on? But Anurag Kulshrestha, the point is, if Vijayji is seeing it, if Mr. Surabji is seeing it, if I'm seeing it, if every four-wheeler driver in this country is seeing it, why are authorities not seeing it? How is it? How is it that two-wheelers get away with such impunity? Can this be the argument that there are 21 registered two-wheelers in this country and only 7 crore registered four-wheelers in this country? Therefore, four-wheelers are bigger, therefore more visible, and the two-wheelers are invisible, therefore they get away with murder. And literally, sometimes they do. For example, today a florist has been hit by a two-wheeler. She has died, he has died, I beg your pardon, and the driver is missing. The motorist is missing.
Actually, Shreya, well raised the question by you. Before that, I just want to say one thing. Like there are few statistics, like 85% substandard helmets are sold in our market. Government of India has come with the issue for this ISI mandatory list just 1.5 years back. Means you can manufacture the substandard helmets throughout India. Number 3, enforcement level in India is just 5%. Just few of the cities are enforcing. You can see in Delhi, if you want, Delhi is having the maximum capacity of helmet wearing rate, but this is not true. 85% people, 85% riders, they are not strapping the helmet well, and it is not being enforced by the Delhi police. So you can see the another states. Few of the states like Mumbai recently they have focused on the pillion riders. Recently, they were not focusing on the pillion rider, and then they were not making the chalans before that. And this is a condition of the metro cities. Just imagine in the entire city of Jharkhand there is a 1 SP traffic. So what is the position of this enforcement? Number 2, like, where is the provocation? Are we focusing on the provocation yet, or we tried to focus on that? Every movie, every serial, and even every political party, they are provoking the people not to wear the helmet. Like Gujarat election were fought with that issue. In Pune, all political parties came in front and they opposed the movement by the police. In Pondicherry, when Srimati Kiran Vedi raised this issue and she allowed and she start penalizing, then the entire cabinet of Pondicherry came in front of the governor house. What is going on? Where is the political priority? There is a bill to stop this? Yes, I am giving the solution. There is a law, there is a guideline from the Ministry of I&B, which clearly said that till the moment there is no demand of the story, you cannot portray the violation of traffic rules in movies or advertisements. But it is continued. No action on that. Second thing, provocation by the political parties. I think we have to make this law strengthening. Second thing about the political party, I think Election Commission should come forward in that case. If any political party is opposing that rule and making it an issue in the election, I think the nomination must be suspended or cancelled of that political party or maybe the candidate. Yes, Shreya, please.
Yeah, Shreya, can I come in here?
Is that part of the problem as well? Vijayji, yes, if you want to, you can, and then I'll go to Hamzat. Go ahead.
So, Shreya, I just wanted to say, I think what Anurag has said is something very fundamental. We are a very politicized country, and political leadership has a huge impact on behavior patterns that emerge from where we are today. I have suggested for the last 7, 8, 9 years that the Prime Minister must put his huge amount of political heft behind road safety. How it is articulated is left to him and his team. And I'm sure the Ministry of Road Transport could put in their 2-bit. But, we are almost 100 series of this Man Ki Baat. And I personally have written suggesting that at least one episode of Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat, which has huge impact in terms of public thinking and public perception, should be focused on road safety issues.
Sure.
And we have not got till
Vijayji,
today. We are reaching a century, 100
but Vijayji,
episode.
there should be one. But Vijayji, there should be one episode of Man Ki Baat even on law enforcement agencies, encouraging them to enforce the law for everyone.
I'm sure
if it is enforced for 4-wheelers, please, traffic police, enforce it for 2-wheelers as well. Mr. Surabji, can I come to you with this question? And I'm taking away from where Mr. Kulshrestha left it. Is part of the problem political as well? That there is hesitation in touching the 2-wheeler because you think the 2-wheeler driver is more likely to come out to a voting booth than a 4-wheeler driver. Someone who drives a car will probably may or may not wake up on voting day and come to the polling booth, but a 2-wheeler driver definitely will. Is it political as well in nature? When you see such little implementation of the law when it comes to 2-wheelers vis-a-vis 4-wheelers?
Well, I think obviously, looking at the fact that the 2-wheelers are mass and of course a larger vote bank than what the car owners are, that definitely is there. But I think, hearing Mr. Chibber and Mr. Kulshrestha, I think what has been raised is a very fundamental issue is that basically road safety for us as a society is just not a priority. We can be here and we can debate and it starts all the way right down from the top to the bottom. I mean, you've had politicians being killed in road accidents, Rajesh Pilot, one of them. You would have thought, that is Sachin Pilot would have taken road safety as an important plank and done something, but it just doesn't happen. It's just that we just accept it. So my point is, if people who have, at that level succumb to road accidents, what chance do regular, let's say citizens have? And I think it's just the fact is that we become so callous towards it, right from top to bottom, that it's really, unfortunately, deep in our DNA, just an overall lack of safety. And I'm not just saying road safety. You'll have people getting killed crossing railway tracks. They put their lives at risk. for silly reasons. So I think it all starts with, it needs a generational change. It'll take time. There's no quick, easy fix. I think it has to be ingrained at the school level, the importance of road safety, even before they take to the wheel or get on a bike, how critical it is. And I think that is really, we as a country, as a society, just don't give safety overall the kind of importance that it deserves. I mean, you'll see the way people are on scaffoldings, just the overall what they call health and safety, which you have in other countries. It's just not there over here. And that's really, let's say, and there's no surprise that even road safety is really not a very, very serious topic for, let's say, policymakers or whatever. We know we've got the largest number and things are being done. But I think, to have that push to make it an absolute national agenda, in a way we've done for whatever pollution, that sort of thing is just hasn't just happened for road safety.
I think that's,
Yeah,
I think
I
almost
agree with
as
you.
good.
Road safety is definitely,
Almost
it's definitely, road safety is definitely not a priority for our politicians or for our political parties.
That is
The
amazing.
priority for them is winning elections.
We're losing such a
Fact
large.
is that there are more two-wheelers that get sold in this country. Yeah, there are more two-wheelers in this country than there are four-wheelers. 7 crore registered four-wheelers, 21 crore registered two-wheelers. The maximum number of people who get killed on India's roads, that accident will involve a two-wheeler. These are statistics by the government of India. And yet when we see the number of challans, yet when we see people being pulled to the side by the traffic police, you will see a car being pulled to the side. Someone who's not wearing a seat belt will be challaned, but not someone who's in a two-wheeler who's crossing the signal or who's not wearing a helmet. These are realities of life, and there needs to be law enforcement because the law needs to be the same for everyone. It's as simple as that. The law needs to be the same for a two-wheeler as it is for a four-wheeler. Someone who drives a motorcycle, he has to be as cognizant of the law in this country as someone who drives a car. We'll leave it there for the moment, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Mr. Sorabji, Mr. Chibbar, and Mr. Kulshrestha. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. The other story we are tracking this evening, our second lead, is coming from the Supreme Court, so do stay with us.